Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy, NerdModon, and welcome to recap a video series where I'll be going over what has been occurring over the last week and talk with you guys about things that you can be expecting in future episodes. So with that said and done, let's jump right into the episode, shall we? So of course, jumping right into the YouTube side of things, I would say everything's been going pretty well over the last week. Since Monday, we've actually hit every single video that should have been uploaded on the specific day. Now, of course, I am aware that Battlefield news did come out as well today, but the main reason that occurred is because the video was so large and it took a long time to render, considering that I do use some pretty extreme render settings when it comes down to the main gist of it. Now, of course, when it comes down to the video that I'm most pleased to present to you guys, it was especially the Battlefield news video, considering that it took an exceptional amount of time to make it. It took 6 hours to render, it took 3 hours to create it, and it just took a lot of effort. It was a lot more effort than I thought it was going to be when it came down to it, and I'm really excited about how it overall turned out. Now, transferring over to the gaming side of things, I've only really been playing Battlefield 4 and a tiny bit of Counter-Strike Go, though I'm really not a great player by any means, so it's definitely not footage that you guys will be seeing anytime soon. However, during Battlefield 4, for the most part, I've been having an enjoyable experience, especially when it comes down to the fall patch. It's been a little frustrating today, considering that I just had a lot of stuff to get done, but for the most part, I'm really pleased with how the patch came out. Now, alongside that information, I've really only been playing with Charles over the last couple of hours, which has been a pretty good experience for the most part. He likes to use the recon class a little bit more than I'm used to, but for the most part, when it comes down to it, I'd say we've been a pretty successful team when it comes down to just me and him. Now, I'm really hoping that Daze will jump in there with us as well. Hopefully he's listening to this, and that's kind of a key to start pushing a little bit more initiative into it. But of course, when it comes down to it, I'm looking forward to hopefully getting a couple of games with him when it comes down to really just playing Battlefield by itself. Now, something else worth noting is that a couple of nights ago, I kind of ran into a guy that added me on Battlelog, and he was just kind of from the same city as I was, and for the most part, I thought we were going to kick things off because it seemed like we were pretty adequate when it came to the same age. So he invited me in with his group, and overall I would say it was a good experience. At least that's how I perceived it. Everything was pretty humorous by itself, everybody was interacting with each other, and for the most part I don't think there was any collisions or issues when it came down to those specific games. However, after our first game of playing, because I kind of revealed some information to him that I thought was going to be pretty much respected when it came down to it. I'm sure many of you guys, when you play a game, you kind of have your ground rules. Maybe you're somebody that really doesn't like to have recon players in your squad, or maybe you're somebody that only likes to have try-hard players in your team, or whatever the case is. I'm sure you guys all have restrictions when it comes down to it, and you would hope that everybody would respect those rules. But one of the biggest rules that I have is that I don't like people that are on my friends list to join my game and then try to hunt me down and knife me. I think it's a huge sign of disrespect when it comes down to it, and one of the most notable things that I do as a result is to delete the player from my friends list. Now, this has only happened twice, and this is within like 6 years of playing Battlefield. And for the most part, I've never really had any problems with anybody. Everybody's just kind of nodded their head and agreed that that's pretty respectable for me to wish. I don't really have a ton of other rules besides that. That's just the one thing that I find to be a huge sign of disrespect. However, the specific individuals decided that it would be a great idea to kind of have their own little chat when it came down to the texting side of things, and they just kind of talked about me. I would imagine I don't have any evidence of this by any means. However, I do have some overall information that was relayed to me by one of the parties involved, but I guess I'm not really too butthurt when it comes down to it. They kind of banned me from their TeamSpeak without discussing anything. It was kind of more of a child's act when it came down to it. It was kind of like, well, I don't like your shirt, so I'm going to kick you from our group. And I guess when it comes down to it, I really haven't spoken to those parties. I'm just kind of waiting for Battlelog to update on my side so I can kind of disband them from my friends list for the most part, just because they are more of a hardcore type of player, and I just kind of enjoy the core experience. So I guess when it comes down to it, that is my experience with the Battlefield community and my local area. It's definitely very interesting, especially for the age groups that were involved, but I guess when it comes down to it, it's just something I should have foreseen coming, especially when it came down to the overall humor that I thought we were having. Now, transferring over to the real life side of things, I've actually been working a lot of hours, still 40 hours a week with a little bit of overtime here nor there, considering that I do have the luxury of clocking in 10 minutes before work, and in many cases I kind of come back from my lunch about 10 minutes early and clock in anyway. So I guess I'm really excited for this upcoming paycheck of next week. It should be a very sufficient paycheck, probably somewhere around that $700 to $800 mark, and I don't really know what I'm going to do with it here at the moment. However, I'm sure I'll end up blowing more than enough of it on food and some other things that I probably didn't need. Now, of course, when it comes down to work-related actions, I've actually been having a pretty good experience at work. I've kind of developed a few friends and some specific coworkers that I really enjoy having engagements with, especially when it comes down to conversations, and in many cases we have like-minded hobbies. So for the most part, I've actually been enjoying work at the moment. I'm sure I'll enjoy it for a long time, and I'm hoping that's the case, considering that I'm kind of getting tired of jumping around, and I feel like it's just kind of a naive move, especially at my age and this time of date. But anyway guys, when it comes down to it, that's really all the information I have for you guys. Hopefully you found something in the video entertaining, of course, and until the next episode, this has been NMO, and I'm going to be signing out guys. Peace.